said, and no, I don't mean hot dogs, Joey Chestnut. Tomorrow's your day. Today is all about the NBA. Kevin Connors, Ashley Brew. What's up, everybody?
Where the Brats and Brews got to be going down right now in Milwaukee, right? Flowing. Trip to the NBA Finals on the line in Atlanta tonight. No freak, all good. Milwaukee was up to the task. They did get Trae Young back, did the Atlanta Hawks. He missed the previous two games with a bone bruise in his foot. Young, a gamer. You wonder if he's got a little Willis Reed magic in him here in Game 6. Again, no Giannis tonight. Young struggled early on, turning it over. Chris Middleton in transition. Young only 3 points in the first quarter, as many points as he had turnovers. Didn't shoot it well. You could tell that injured foot, whether it was fatigue from missing the past couple of games or he just lacked the elevation, he did not have it. Drew Holiday was dominating this game in the second quarter off the turnover. Holiday. Little spin cycle right there. You saw him setting it up. Athletic finish from Holiday to put it up, and then the Bucks led by 6. It was not a terribly inspiring first half from either team. Late second quarter, Drew's going to tip it away from Bogdanovic, flip it ahead. Pat Connaughton throws it down. Bucks led 47-43 at the break. Trae had only 5 points in the first half, but he's the kind of guy that can get it going in the second half. Problem is, he didn't. If you're a Hawks fan, this guy did. Chris Middleton struggled in the first half. 5 points, 5 turnovers, maybe trying to do too much. Third quarter, he did it all. The Hawks were 5 of 19 from behind the arc in the first half, 12 for 26 from behind the arc in the second half. 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. They simply could not stop him. And then when he was not scoring it himself, he was finding Pat Connaughton for the three. Bucks led by 13. Under 4 to go. Life for the Hawks. They were on a 21-7 run, cut the lead to 6. But the Bucks get it back. Drew Holiday all the way. He had 27. And when Holiday wasn't killing him, Chris Middleton was. Holiday, the alley-oop. Brook Lopez throwing it down off the alley-oop. Lopez, who was so great in Game 5, not as strong in Game 6, but that bucket extended the lead to 10. Minute to go, 7-point game. P.J. Tucker, just his second field goal of the game. It's the three, it's the dagger, it's the end of the road for the Atlanta Hawks, and it's on to the NBA Finals for the Milwaukee Bucks. For the first time since 1974, they're celebrating in Milwaukee. 118-107. Bucks win in 6. Here's the head coach, Mike Budenholzer.
Well, first, just congratulations to Atlanta, Coach McMillan, his players. Hell of a season. Amazing. Yeah! It's sweet. These guys have put the work in all year. They deserve to go to the finals. I couldn't be more proud of them. I love coaching them, and we got more work to do.
Yes, the work continues, and the Bucks have not messed around this postseason with a chance to clinch. They're now 6-0 with a chance to wrap up playoff series under Coach Bud. Now, Mike Budenholzer himself now 9-2 in clinch opportunities. That's the second best mark all time, behind only Ty Lue. The Bucks have not won a title since 1971. This will be their first trip to the finals since 1974. Milwaukee fell to the Celtics in 7 games that year, anchored, of course, by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson in the final season of his Hall of Fame career. This finals means so much to both the Bucks and the Suns. No player on either team has ever won an NBA championship. Kevin, that stat is crazy to me. This marks the first NBA Finals where no players have previous rings since all the way back in 1977.
I think that's tough for the defense.
If the Milwaukee Bucks, who showed up last night, show up for the rest of this postseason, that is your champion. Not just Eastern Conference Finals champion. I'm talking about champions of the whole damn thing. They're winning the chip, y'all. You heard me. The Bucks team we saw last night, even if it only has the Greek Freak playing at 60 or 70% in the NBA Finals, that team can knock off the Phoenix Suns in the NBA Finals. Milwaukee dominated Game 5 from the tip, imposed their will. The Bucks put up 44 points in the first half last night, just in the paint alone. 65 points in the first half total, but 44 in the paint alone. Brook Lopez stepped up big time. Season high 33.7 rebounds, 4 blocks. Milwaukee got a huge game from Drew Holiday, too, running the show with 25 points, 13 assists. Holiday, Lopez, Chris Middleton, and Bobby Portis gave the Bucks 4 starters who put up at least 22 points last night. That's right, Bobby Portis. Here's the thing with Giannis being out. It forces other players like Bobby Portis, like Brook Lopez, to actually step up, to contribute, to take more ownership of a championship push. And then you add the Greek Freak back into that mix, even a diminished Giannis. That Bucks team is a problem. I know all the talk about this year's NBA champion being diminished and asterisk because of all the injuries to star players. But the Bucks team we saw last night, that team has the ingredients to beat anybody. Now they just have to do it.
And back up before Giannis got injured and after Giannis got injured. The Atlanta Hawks found out that could happen to them, and the Milwaukee Bucks did it. And I firmly believe it started when Drew Holiday got that first 2 points in the paint, and then Brook Lopez said, hey, if that's good for you, then it's good for me. Then everybody else was able to do the same thing. They forced Nate McMillan to challenge his basketball team to say, what's up with you guys? Where are you guys? He could not believe that a Bucks team that is known for being a finesse team was being the tougher basketball team, was being the more physical basketball team. So we can talk about production all we want. It was great production by the Milwaukee Bucks getting in the paint, but that attitude adjustment was the biggest reason why they were able to win. Brook Lopez is normally a guy that loves camping on the outside and taking three-point shots. He said, He got those paint touches, and he put it on those smaller guys. That big dude played like a big dude last night. For me, it's one thing to have production, but that attitude and taking advantage and using that to great effect against the Atlanta Hawks, to me, was the biggest reason why the Milwaukee Bucks have a 3-2 series lead in this one.
Okay, and before we get to you, Keyshawn, let's welcome in the great Vince Carter. Welcome, Vince. Thanks for being here. How you doing?
Guys? Yes, thanks for having me.
So we want to ask you, what was the biggest reason last night for the Bucks win?
Freddie alluded to it. I think first and foremost, Drew Holiday imposing his will in the post, not settling for jump shots. The first play of the game in the post, quick elbow jump hook. Next, Chris Middleton with the jump shot, and then everyone followed suit from there. Brook Lopez and the battery pack, a.k.a. Bobby Portis, brought his energy and his will and effort. He imposed his will on the offensive glass as well as the defensive glass. And once they hit the Hawks in the mouth, when you're in, I'm going to say this, when you're on the road for the Hawks, you're saying, hey, the first 5 minutes, stand strong, take the blow, and then we go from there. Well, they took the blow, but they were never able to bounce back. They got within 7 points, but that was it. And that's because of Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez in the paint dominating.
What I would say, VC, is I say, you know what? Home court advantage always plays a part, and not having your star player in Trae Young certainly played a part. And I know Trae Young has been streaky at times, but his motivation, who he is as a player, being on the court to help his team facilitate, spacing things out. And Clint Capella didn't play him particularly well at all. He was bully balled in the paint. There was no real adjustments made by Nate McMillan. But again, when you don't have your star player on the floor, sometimes that can be very difficult. And I know they beat them at home in Atlanta, but that gave the home court advantage to Atlanta Hawks. So the energy that they were missing from Speedy Gonzalez, they got from the crowd. And then when you think about it now, they're going back home for Game 6. Whether it's Trae Young or not, I think at the same time, VC, they will wind up figuring out a way how to neutralize Brook Lopez, because I can't see or believe that Brook Lopez and Portis are going to do the same things they did in Game 5 again in Atlanta for Game 6.
Well, I look at one thing that Coach Nate McMillan said before the game. The team that hits first will win, because you're setting the tone. You're setting the tone on how you want to play, and you're trying to establish yourself before the other team. Well, the Hawks did not do that on the road for whatever reason. The Bucks understood how important this game is to them. So they said, what? No Giannis? No problem. We're going to put the big fella in the post so he can play in the post. Because if you think about it, he had more space to operate. And that's why we see Brook Lopez a lot on the perimeter, because Giannis they give Giannis the space he needs to operate. Now, Brook Lopez gets the opportunity to operate in the post with 4 guys around the perimeter, and they found that to work. When they took him out, Bobby Portis plays down there in the post. So, and if not, they put the 2 bigs out there and let Jrue Holiday. So they felt like, hey, we're going to beat you up, we're going to score in the post, and what are you going to do about it? So, like you said, home cooking for the Hawks, and the formula of we play better at home is hopefully is enough. But when you bring Trae Young into the picture, you mentioned Trae. So you bring Trae, hopefully, if he's not able to play to that 32 point per game ability, he can make plays for these guys to knock down shots.
Vince, what is it about in terms of a game like this if you're the Bucks? Because not trying to slight Mike Budenholzer, but it seemed to me that the Bucks were more about motivating themselves as players to get into the paint, even if that was the game plan. How much of that is more of a players thing now where you can say we can get whatever we want from the coach, but it's really on us to set this tone and not have to worry about carrying out instructions or the game plan from the head coach in this situation?
I think it's a little bit of both, in understanding what works and where are your mismatches and what you can take advantage of. And they felt like they could take advantage of bully ball in the post, because when Giannis is aggressive and not settling for 3-point shots or mid-range and getting to the basket, they were successful. And you mentioned earlier that game 3, that's what they did. Giannis attack into the paint. Well, now they said we have no Giannis. We need our bigs or our post-up guys to be aggressive. So now look for the Bucks to utilize that again, to be aggressive. But how do you offset that? Well, you have to attack them on the other end, bring Brook Lopez out on the perimeter to guard. And when they did that, they got him in foul trouble and they got him off the floor because he couldn't guard guards downhill in pick and roll.
VC, when you look at it, and Trae Young, let's assume Trae Young doesn't play for whatever weird reason because he tried to warm up and it didn't look good, so he decided to sit this one out. Can Lou Will, along with Bogdanovic, spread the floor, like you're saying, on switches, bring Lopez in? Now all of a sudden they can knock down threes and get into that type of rhythm that they had in game 4 while they're at home?
Yeah, Key, I tell you, Lou Will did not play well. Bogdanovic, Bogey, he was fantastic, 28 points, but Lou Will didn't particularly play well, and he had those switches, and he really could not get by him without a contest by Lopez. So look for them to kind of to get Lopez on the run first, having to guard multiple actions into an isolation. And with the live dribble, you look for some things like that. You can't just pick and roll, switch, attack. They were prepared for that. But if he has to guard multiple actions, now you kind of get him late on the switch, then you attack him, make him put his hands on you and foul. That is something I think I would try to utilize for Game 6.
Okay, Vince, there are some clear adjustments that can be made, but in your opinion, after what you saw last night, is this series over?
I mean, it all depends on what you get out of Trae Young, first and foremost. I'm going to root for my Hawks regardless. I'm only a year removed, and they're doing this, when I leave. That's another story for another day. But, but no, I think home cooking is good. But if they cannot make the adjustment of stopping these guys in the post, it's going to be a long night, and they go home. So no Trae Young, they could possibly go home. So I'm going to say the Hawks going to pull this off.
All right. Okay. Well, Vince, we always appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time. Also, your insight.
Thanks, guys.
We really appreciate having you.